Welcome to today's video technical update presented by CMS Forex. It is Monday, December 14th, 2009. I'm Fan Yang, your technical analyst, and I'll go over some developments in the Forex market. The greenback showed strength to end last week. We'll take a look at the euro dollar and the dollar Japanese yen pair as this week starts quietly. This video is being prepared at about 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time before the close of the US session. We begin by looking at the euro dollar pair. Here's the daily chart. First of all, we note that this is oversold and there should be some support just below the current level here, between 1.45 and 1.46. Okay, now this is only a intermediate term sort of support. We already saw these intermediate term trend lines break with aggressive bearish action. So this is indicative of a reversal, at least a correction towards in this intermediate term towards the 1.38, 1.4 level. However, in the shorter intermediate term, there's support here, and we may see a correction to establish a lower high than the previous one at 1.51. If we have a lower high established, then there's more likelihood that this decline will continue. Looking at the 4-hour time frame now, we are basically still in a decline in this channel here since last week, and today we have another correction, another consolidation. It's been a very quiet day, as you can see from this chart. There is a bullish divergence here, and we may see, that's why we may see a short-term, near-term rally in the upcoming Asian session. However, now looking at the 1-hour time frame now, we see here that if there is a rally, we would have a completion of a Gartley, this ABCD pattern at 1.47, 1.4730, 1.740, around this 61.8% retracement area, 61.8 to 78.6. So at the moment the market is in a slow crawl, so it doesn't look like the market's making a push towards this level. We'll see in the Asian session if this previous high will hold or not. If it does go to this, that's one scenario that we could stalk, and that the way we would do that is if we see topping action here and then another decline in the form of a strong bearish candle, either breaking this trend line or breaking this previous high here, coming down and breaking it as support at 1.4680. So there's an area here, if the market starts to decline, that could trigger our short-term outlook for at least the test of 1.45, and as you can see here, 1.45 is a support area. So any kind of bearish outlook right now has to be very aggressive and monitored closely, so closely that it may be completed in within the next European session. So looking at this chart using ATR method of stop placement, 3 ATRs above where we would expect this power line is 1.4815, and the swing target is at 1.4520. That's a 180 to 115 ratio, which is about 1.56 to 1. Alright, so that's your overnight or Asian European session outlook. The next pair is the US dollar Japanese yen pair, and we've been following this pair the last week. We saw this clear out of a previous low here, and this was accompanied by strong rejection below the 86 area, and there was a sharp rally followed by a sharp reversal here, but we eventually established a low that is higher than the previous low. So here is a strength formation. This formation, however, has a swing swing projection to 93, where this would be 61.8% retracement and coincident to this declining trend line. So here we would expect some important resistance, maybe even lower, closer to these previous highs. So that's the longer intermediate term outlook. Now let's turn to the 4-hour time frame. So we see this longer intermediate term outlook. In the 4-hour time frame, we see that the market today has stalled and is showing some weakness, but this is a very low volatility decline here. Nonetheless, it looks like we may have a Gartley developing, and that means if this trend line here breaks, if the current 88.50 area here breaks, then we may have a short-term decline here to the 86.50 area in the Asian session, where if it makes it to this area, this is important retracement support area. Okay, so just one more time, the intermediate outlook is 293, where we would have some bearish interest, and we could look for topping action here for another consideration of a decline towards this previous low at 88. In the shorter intermediate time frame, we may see a Gartley developing, and if it completes at 86.5, we may have a rally from there back to our original outlook here. Alright, and that wraps up today's update. Visit fxtimes.com for more technical and fundamental analysis, as well as educational live events. Once again, I'm Fan Yang, your technical analyst here at CMS Forex, wishing you good trading.